Hello, my name is Carlos Rivera and I'm going to talk about pre-iconography in the famous painting Starry Night from Vincent van Gogh. First thing we can see are the stars. Most of them are yellow, including the moon. Still, two of the stars are purely white. Then we can notice the darkness around the stars, which is molded by the star's light. It's kind of a sea of darkness. Between this darkness, we can see a stronger kind of wind in the middle of it that also reshapes the darkness around it. Then we can observe some kind of lights above the mountains. We can see this as if the lights from the stars and the moon were reflecting in some kind of surface, probably a water surface, creating this illusion that there's more light above the mountains. Another big thing of the painting is the giant tree we see almost in the middle of it, which is dark, making the illusion that it's behind the light of the stars. Around all the painting we can also notice the mountains that are just below the night sky and this part, kind of glowy part of the sky. One of the smallest parts of the painting is the village at the bottom. We can see that it has kind of a big church almost in the middle of it, and some of the lights are still turned on even if it's night. Finally, we can see some kind of forest that surrounds the village, and it's just before the mountain starts.
The Starry Night is a painting known and beloved by many. It is one of the most iconic and recognized paintings of the post Impressionism period. However, not everyone knows the symbols behind this masterpiece. According to the painter himself, this painting did not symbolize a return to romantic or religious ideas, but that it was an expression of the purer nature of a countryside compared with the suburbs of Paris. Van Gogh once called this painting a poetic subject. Most historians believe that this is because the painting was highly inspired by the author Walt Whitman, whose poems about nature and astronomy were highly influential in Van Gogh's art. Van Gogh's painting caught the viewer's eye mainly through the use of color. There is a high contrast between the darkness of the village and the lighted and beautiful sky above. During this time, Van Gogh was interned at a mental asylum. Many believed that the darkness represented in the village demonstrates the dark and trapped feeling of his room, while the sky above is meant to represent the beautiful and bright things of the universe and a greater meaning shining down upon us. The very few lights that can be observed in the village are meant to represent the fact that human light has faded to Van Gogh and that he was craving for a spiritual light that can be found in the moon and the stars. The cypress tree on the left is meant to represent Van Gogh's near death. Cypress trees are meant to symbolize death, and some historians believe that this was Van Gogh's way of expressing his near suicide. However, it can be also interpreted as a sign of immortality. This is because the tree is positioned in a way that it appears to be leaving the human town and entering the sky above, that has a direct relation between the earth and the heavens and spirits. Lastly, the way the sky is represented is meant to represent more than just the sky, but the souls and spirits that are free out there in the universe, instead of the human and sufferable life down on earth.
Hi, I am Isabella Trussell, and I will be talking about Erwin Panofsky's third stage of painting analysis, which is iconology, also known as the history behind a painting. The Starry Night was painted in 1889 during Vincent van Gogh's 12-month stay at the Saint-Paul-de-Mazoul asylum. Throughout the previous year, he had experienced repeated episodes of depression, anxiety, and epilepsy. He frequently ignored his physical health by drinking heavily and not eating properly, which led to the infamous incident of Van Gogh cutting off his ear. which is depicted in these two very famous self-portraits. He was then admitted to a hospital where he was diagnosed to have, quote unquote, acute mania with generalized delirium. While at the asylum, Vincent van Gogh painted during bursts of productivity that alternated with moods of despair. These are two paintings depicting a corridor and the grounds of the asylum. As an artist who preferred working from observation, Van Gogh was limited to the subjects that surrounded him, his own likeness, views outside his studio window, and the surrounding countryside that he could visit with a chaperone. Here is, on the left, the painting of his studio window, and on the right, another painting of the grounds at the asylum. This preference for observation is reflected in the painting Starry Night, which depicts the view from his bedroom window at the asylum at Saint-Rémy-de-Provence. Because he was not allowed to paint in his bedroom, it is probable that Van Gogh painted the scene in the Starry Night from memory or drawings and used his imagination for the small village that did not actually exist. This painting came to be because Van Gogh was particularly interested by the challenges of painting a night landscape, and he wrote about this not only to his brother Theo, but to his sister Wilhelma and fellow painter Émile Bernard. Here we can see one of Van Gogh's letters to his brother Theo. It is said that the brightest star that Van Gogh described in his letters about the painting is actually the planet Venus and Aries constellation, which was proven by Albert Bohm during a lecture at the American Astronomical Society in 1985. He proved this by comparing the star charts and the placements of Venus to the painting The Starry Night the night before he finished this. In his letters, Van Gogh alleged that night was more colorful than day and that stars were more than simple white dots on black, instead appearing yellow, pink, or green. We can see this in another painting by Van Gogh of the night sky, here. Van Gogh's unique perception and interpretation of the night sky is what allowed the world to be graced with the beautiful painting that is The Starry Night. Thank you.